today's video is going to be about my experience with travelling with depression. I will just put a little disclaimer out there first of all to say I obviously have no makeup on. I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Obviously normally I wear makeup when I film my videos and today I was like going through all of my to-do list and I decided that I was going to film a video, and I went to get ready and I thought to myself, would I actually be putting on a full face of makeup if I wasn't filming this video? And the answer was no, so I decided not to put makeup on. So this will be the first time I film like a video on my channel without the intention of getting ready during it. So hopefully you can put up with the fact that I look like this and I haven't brushed my hair and all of that jazz. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about my experience with travelling with depression. So I posted the video telling you guys why I'd not been on YouTube for a while, that I've been struggling with depression for quite a while now. And recently, I'm not sure when this video will go up in terms of timings, but recently I had the honour of being invited to go on a Trek America trip to America called the Deep South BLT, where me and a group of other bloggers were given the opportunity to travel around the south of America, and it was incredible. But I wanted to talk to you about the other side of it. I will have shared a lot of stuff online, a lot of pictures, a lot of tweets, a lot of like little video clips and stuff that will have shown me having an absolutely incredible time, which I 1,000,000% did, and I can't recommend the trip enough. But I just wanted to talk about the side of it that might feel like you might not be able to do the trip, if that makes sense. Again, when I sit down to say I'm going to talk about depression, I don't really ever know what I'm going to say or how I'm going to say it or if it's going to make any sense. But basically, I got asked to go on this Trek America trip and I didn't even think about it. I just said yes. I was like, oh my God, I've only ever been to America once, which was in 2015 when I went with one of my best friends, and we did a trek around America just together, and went to kind of like all of our dream destinations. But there were a couple of places that were on my list that weren't on my friend's list, and vice versa. And so we just left those ones off. And when the Trek America trip came through, it was all of the places that I'd wanted to see that I hadn't got to see with my best friend. And I was like, I just don't know when I'm going to be in a position to go to America again. I absolutely want to do this. And so I said yes straight away and I didn't even think about it. And it wasn't actually until I got off the plane in New Orleans in America onto the minibus that we'd be travelling on for like the duration of the trip that reality kind of hit me, and I was like, oh, I am in the midst of a serious like dip of mental health in my life, and I'm embarking on a trip with a group of strangers thousands of miles away from home, and I'm going to be here for 8 days. And I was sat on the coach, the minibus, and it was late at night. Admittedly, I was hormonal because I'd just come on my period, and I sat on my own on the minibus at the back, and I cried. I didn't want anybody else to see that I was crying. I didn't want anyone else to like know that I was visibly upset. But it's very hard when you're in an intense environment for people not to see your emotions. So I sat at the back of the minibus and I had a little cry because I was like, oh my God, have I totally overestimated how well I've been doing in terms of my health? Like, was I actually not as well as I thought I was to be able to come on this trip? I was really worried at that moment because I was with people I didn't know, for starters. It was a really intense week, or over a week, of travelling a lot of hours a day, spending every single day 24/7 with these people, and like sharing rooms with them at night. So like there wouldn't be respite, there wouldn't be that much needed downtime, and I panicked. I was already in America, so there was nothing I could do about that, and we got to our hostel in New Orleans and everybody was like, we're going to go out for pizza, like start the celebration of like being in America. And at that point I was like, no, I'm not going out, I'm not getting pizza, I'm going to unpack my stuff that I need for tonight, I'm going to have a shower, I'm going to put my eye mask on, my earplugs in, and I'm going to get into bed and I'm going to have a relatively early night because we had to be up really early the next morning to go to Birmingham in Alabama. And I kind of knew that if I was setting that precedent for myself at the beginning of the trip, that would help me, because I didn't want to start that trip doing things to make other people happy. I knew that I had to do whatever it took for me to be able to enjoy that trip. And I knew that if I went out that night, I'd be putting myself on the back foot already. And I knew as well that that might not make me the most laid back, the most fun, like the most appealing person to the rest of the team. But I was like, I've just got to like detach myself from that kind of worry about what other people might think, and just do what I needed to do. And so that's what I did. And then I woke up the next morning at 6 in the morning to get ready to start the next day. And I just sat down with myself for a minute in the bathroom and had a word with myself and said, like, you have to be able to take every single moment of this trip and relish that opportunity. Just let every single beautiful thing about that trip overcome you, and let all of the negativity and the emptiness and the uselessness that you felt roll off your shoulders for the time that you're there, because there is nothing that you can do now. You're here and you wanted to be here for a reason. And I just said to myself that that's what I was going to do. And it's never been as simple as that for me before. I've never been able to just talk myself out of feeling a certain way, but something was just really powerful about the fact that I was in this place and that I'd actually managed to get there in the first place. Like, I hadn't thought about, Megan, like, you've literally packed for a massive trip away and got on a plane and had conversations with strangers and like flown 10 hours to New Orleans with people that you don't know. Like, you've done it, like, you're here. And so what use would it be in not just seeing the beauty in the experience that you were going to have? And yeah, so I just had said that to myself, like, within like 12 hours of having landed in New Orleans. I gave myself a good shake and I was like, you've got to do this, and you've already done it. You've already got yourself here. So that's the most difficult part. And it actually was one of the best experiences of my life. I think traveling has a lot to answer for in terms of soul searching and healing. And yeah, it sounds a bit wanky because apparently I'm the wankiest wanker ever these days. But I honestly can't thank Trek America enough, because I was with a group of the most incredible people, seeing the most incredible parts of the world. And I think a huge part of it was being in the South. Everybody in the South of America is so kind and loving and open and like such beautiful people. They just want you to have a lovely time and they want you to be happy. And there was something so incredibly humbling about that I was like, that is all I want for my life, to be surrounded by people that are loving and caring and nice and happy. And not that I'm not back home, but I just meant it was just such an uplifting environment to be in. I can't recommend the Deep South BLT tour enough. The places that we went to, the people that we met, the experiences that we had, like, so I learned so much about myself. And I don't want to spoil what I experienced, because I want you to see that in the vlogs, because I just had such incredible moments there. But I honestly feel like it's brought me out of a bit of that darkness. I feel lifted for having done that trip. It's not fixed my problems, but it gave me a break and an opportunity to see my life a little bit more differently and myself a little bit more differently. Like, I've pushed so many boundaries on that trip. I'm a very insular person. I find spending time with people quite exhausting, and so I don't do it that often. And so being in an environment where I was with people 24/7 all of the time was, I thought, going to be really difficult for me. And there was a lot of travel, like 6 hours a day sometimes on the minibus, and I just loved it. I loved every single second, like snoozing on the bus and like listening to people, like my other travel mates' playlists that we play on the trip, and like hearing other people's like travel stories and stuff. Like, I just loved every single second of it, and it was just, yeah, a totally different experience for me. I did loads of things that I've never done before in my life, and I learnt more about myself, and that for me is what travel is all about. And if you are struggling with depression and you feel like you wouldn't be able to do something like that, I would really seriously consider trying something like that. I mean, it obviously, everybody is different, and how you feel can't be duplicated to somebody else's issues and things like that, but I cannot recommend getting some kind of travel to help you with your journey. And yeah, the Deep South, incredible. So yeah, I think feeling the fear and doing it anyway is a huge part of putting yourself back together again, because it has been for me anyway. So yeah, I really hope that this video was a little bit interesting. And if you have any questions about Trek America or anything else regarding this video, then just let me know in the comments below. And also, thank you so much from like the bottom of my heart for how amazingly kind and beautiful and wonderful you have all been this journey for me so far. I'm speechless because it's such a private thing, and to share it is one thing, but to have that community of people that just feel like I've got a constant hug around me is like priceless. It's amazing. So thank you, and I will see you all soon. Thank you for watching.